Hey everyone, I'm Performance Labs coach Dr. Trey Hodge. I'm here accompanied today by Performance Labs athlete Morgan Payne. We're going to go over first shoulders and break it down as far as the exercises we're going to use and the reasons behind them. All right, the first exercise we're going to cover is going to be a shoulder press, but this is going to be more of a modified shoulder press than we're typically used to seeing. This one we're focusing on keeping tension where we're actually engaging more of our front delts, also trying to refrain from overusing the joint itself or putting pressure on a rotator cuff. So I'm going to have Morgan go ahead and lift it up, and she's going to perform the press. And as you notice, the elbows are more tucked in, they're not abducted out. And we're going to actually focus on more of the depth here. Okay, go into a press, and we're going to stop right before the elbows lock out. And the reason behind this is we don't want to add an extra pressure on the shoulder when we extend it all the way up, coming down. And like I said, we're just really trying to isolate the front delts in this, okay? We'll do a few reps with this. Ideally, we want to perform about 3 to 4 sets on this one, rep range 12 to 15 with control. Weight-wise, moderate, because like I said, we definitely want to focus on the control aspect and not putting too much pressure on the joint. And go ahead and go to a regular shoulder press. Go ahead and go out. The reason why sometimes I refrain from this with a lot of athletes is just because in this position, the shoulder is in a very compromised position too. So when we actually hit more of a full depth, and to this point, we're putting a lot of pressure on the rotator cuff muscles, okay? The muscles there are very small and they are more for stabilization. So when we hit this, we lose the stabilization because they're weak, okay? So a lot of times, if we do this, yeah, we're gonna actually bring it down not as deep just to keep from that happening, but at least when we're changing it to more of palms facing inward, we can still get more range, but of course refrain from putting extra pressure on the rotator cuff muscles. All right, for our second exercise today, we're going to perform a side lateral raise. I like to use the seated version for a lot of people who have a hard time with the form. So that way we're not using momentum, we're trying to isolate. And here we're targeting medial delt. We do get some rear delt assistance in this, but we really want to focus on that without incorporating the trapezius muscle up top. So we're going to actually go ahead and start the movement. And she's going to come up, solid raise up to parallel to the floor, slight bend the elbow. And the good thing with the slight bend the elbow is going to take pressure from anything that's going to go into the elbows itself. Anybody who suffers from tendonitis, sometimes if you're trying to attempt a straight arm raise, you'll have more problems with it. But here we're trying to hit the parallel, isolating the medial delt in the process, not using momentum, not swinging, controlling it both ways. And you see we actually do have a pause at the top because we're just trying to make sure we are attacking the medial delt and then control it on the way down with a slower negative, okay? Yeah, a lot of times we have problems with even performing side lateral. This way, because we usually have a tendency to incorporate more than just medial delts, and that's why it's a problem. A lot of times I always have people go to a seated version first and even has to lighten the load because this, of course, probably too heavy. That way they can build a little bit more of that muscle-mind connection too, to where they can actually feel like they're targeting the medial delts, not feeling like their traps are fatiguing, or even if they're even incorporating a little bit more and it comes in terms of the back. Our next and third exercise today is going to be utilizing the incline bench on this one. We're going to have it set at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to have Morgan go ahead and lay down for me, face down on this. We want the chest pretty much at the more of the top of the bench. That way it gives us more room to work with, especially performing this movement. We're actually, for her, we're going to have her thumbs pretty much facing inward on this, and we're going to perform a lateral raise. This one we're going to do, we are going to focus on targeting more rear delt work. And this is a tough one for a lot of people to kind of really isolate, and this is actually one of the better ways I feel to isolate this. But maintaining that chest contact the whole way through the movement, not allowing the chest to move up either. All right, Morgan, go ahead and perform the movement for me. And we are going to perform 4 sets of this. And since we are controlling these a lot more, I'm okay with the 8 to 12 rep range on this one because you will fatigue a little bit faster. As you see here, she is getting a squeeze at the top, really trying to focus on the moving with the rear delt, and then slowly controlling on the way down, not letting the momentum take over the movement for her. Good. Honestly, I feel like rear delts, even on a back day, if we're doing full range motion, it's good to even throw it towards the end because your rear delts are already, in motion, they're already warmed up. So even a lot of times you have more of a connection with the rear delt even after a back movement. So for me and a lot of clients, sometimes we'll have a shoulder day by itself, and then we will have maybe an assisted day where we actually put a little bit extra on the end of a back workout where we're focusing on rear delt work. For our fourth exercise, we're going to actually switch gears a little bit. We're going to start working with a little bit of band work here. We'll save this for the last, of course, just because bands we can actually go and experience some true failure in this point. This one we're going to actually perform as upright row. With this, I do like the upright rows not going past sternum level, so we're going to stop right here below the Performax Athlete symbol right here. And also, I like to actually keep the movement where it's a few inches from the body as we do it. So that way we don't put a lot of pressure on the AC joint. That's what a lot of times people have problems with it when they actually do an upright row and they're doing like a barbell or even doing it with a cable. They'll bring it so close to the body and dragging against the body and bring it so high that it puts a lot of pressure on the AC joint. So Morgan here is going to demonstrate. And since we are working with the band, I do like to keep it controlled, still keeping the tension under it. This one, I usually like doing 2 to 3 sets, and we'll actually hit failure on this. So when we get to where we can't reach that sternum level, then that's when we'll actually stop the movement. The thing is too, with the band resistant, and we're allowing the band to be our weight, our tension that and of course with this movement, because of course the further distance with the band, the more tension we have. So when we're trying to focus in on the actual idea of where we're trying to hit the movement, then that's putting a lot more emphasis on what we're trying to pull with a trap.